What's up, guys? Look, in yesterday's video, I made a brief statement about having a victim mindset or a victim mentality. And I kind of wanted to double back and speak about that a little bit more because, in my opinion, it's probably the absolute worst quality you could possibly have as a human being. You're doomed, you're cooked, you're chopped if you can't break out of this box that you put yourself in. Life isn't fair. All right. Some people are dealt really shitty hands, and some people have they've been dealt the greatest hand ever. But you'll see people in each one of those categories who might not take full advantage of what they've been given. You'll see people who have, they were born in a very poor, grew up probably eating bad quality of food, were neglected as kids, things like this, and they're able to take action into their own hand and kind of control the things that they're able to control and move up out of that situation. And then you'll see people who are dealt like the greatest hand ever who just fumble everything and end up living just a shit quality of life. You see both ways. So you do have the power to kind of change these inputs to get where you want to be. Stop thinking that you don't. A lot of the external factors you are not going to have any control over. And the sooner that you can get that through your head and start to really just focus on the things that you can change, the better your life is going to become. And it's going to happen very quickly too. Your attitude and your perspective on everything, it is so essential. And how this relates to health and fitness, what inspired me to make this video, I'm at the gym earlier and I see a guy in a wheelchair who can't walk. And the dude is absolutely fucking ripped. He's probably in better shape than like 99.9% of people. And obviously he doesn't have a victim or a loser's mentality. I don't know how he got in his situation, but he's getting in the gym and he's putting in the work and changing these things and taking action to improve his life. Now, some of you guys might say, oh, well, I have kids or my work is really demanding and I work long hours. Do you really think that's a valid excuse? All right, do you? Because I can guarantee that there's a million other people in the world who have it far more difficult than you, and they're still putting in the work and getting this stuff done. There's a lot of things that can kind of lead to this mindset. I think a lot of it can stem from kind of a lack of self-respect or self-worth, where you end up kind of self-sabotaging yourself and blaming others. You'll see how fitness and health can change this when you start working on your inputs and actually focus, and you'll start to see more positive outcomes and outputs. You're going to eventually have more self-respect and you're going to have more self-love that will allow you to kind of look in the mirror and accept these different flaws and things about you and actually be able to, you'll be able to understand for once that you have the power to change them and to kind of break out of this loop. Things happen and we can't keep living in the past. All right. We gotta have that like future mindset and be 10 steps ahead of everybody else. If you are somebody who dwells on the past, maybe it's, somebody backstabbed you and you've been jaded and you can't let that go. Guys, we need to learn how to kind of take an L and just move on with our life. All right. We can't be dwelling on these things. We got to focus on now. What can I do right now to make tomorrow a better day? Don't worry about the things that have happened. You have no control over that and you can't change them. All that you can do is just put one foot in front of the other and keep on marching. Another way that we can kind of break out of this is to not compare ourselves to others, especially in fitness, man. Like, you will just completely unravel. All right. Your head is going to get so fucked up. And I used to have this issue. I think everybody who's been in a gym has kind of had this issue. And I used to look at other people and say, oh, their circumstances are better than mine. It's probably easy for them. No, the fuck it's not. It's the same exact thing. They were working harder than I was, and I wasn't able to come to grips with the fact that I could have been doing a lot more to get to where I wanted to go and get closer to my goals. So we got to stop the comparisons. All right. It seriously, it will just kill you. It will eat you up. If you're somebody who's on Instagram, scrolling past people's posts and just like hating on them. And if you're in the comment sections, talking shit and like arguing with strangers online, like that is no way to live. We have to change our attitude like immediately when it comes to this. The only person that you should be comparing yourself to is yourself, your prior self. and work on just becoming better every single day, whether that be through health and nutrition or just life in general, treating people with respect, you know, being kind to others. These small little things that you can do that will also, you're not only making somebody else's day, but you're also going to improve your mindset, and you will start to feel better about yourself when you spread positivity instead of spreading negativity. So don't be a hater. All right, don't be a hater. We got to leave that in the past. If you're jaded and you're constantly complaining and comparing yourself to others, you will be a failure. I promise you. If you kind of identify with anything that I've talked about in this video, I urge you to start to reframe your perspective on life in general. And I know I'm getting kind of like deep, and this is not, it is related to health and fitness, but more so just like a general statement. You're never going to succeed though in health and fitness if you're not able to kind of get these things in check. So I urge you to try to reframe your mental and have more of a positive attitude moving forward. All right. I know so many people who are just so hurt and they just wake up every single day feeling miserable and they have no purpose. When you start to work on yourself, when you start to eat better, and you start to create a new lifestyle and a new identity, your attitude automatically will change with that. And again, it's kind of a lot of the stuff I talked about in the last video, but all of these things in combination are just going to send you to the next level. And we'll be able to keep evolving and become greater over time. And they all kind of feed into each other. As you get in better shape, your attitude will change. You'll be more supportive of others. And as you become more supportive of others, you're going to become more supportive of yourself. And that's going to further reinforce all of the habits that you've been working on, and so on and so forth. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. You're not a fucking victim. All right. You're not a victim. And stop with the loser mentality and start actually working on these things and looking in the mirror and just realizing that, you know what, like if I've been stuck in the same place and I'm 25% body fat and I'm miserable, and I'm just a big fat hater, you got to make some change. All right. You have to make some change. You have to come to terms with it is not anybody else's fault but your own. And although your situation might not be perfect, if we sit around and wait for things to be perfect, you're going to be sitting around waiting forever. I can promise you that. So stop waiting and just do this stuff today. Stop blaming other people and just work on continuing to better yourself. All right. I'm going to kind of leave it at that. New videos like pretty much every day at this point. So stay tuned. Peace.